Hi everyone, this is our 11/11 reading. Sorry it's about a little bit late in the day, but this day actually has been quite a lot. So, I'm moving through the day at a pace that seems like going with the flow of the universe, pretty much. And yes, Mercury retrograde had something to do as well, for sure, but I think I'll keep the details to myself. Alright, again, if you hear some noise, this could be the dog. But other than that, happy to have you guys here. We will start. Virgo reading is now published, finally. We'll start with an oracle message, and today is going to be the angel therapy. I feel like we can use angel therapy right now. And then it will be a 9-card spread to see where the union, the connection is at this point. So we'll focus essentially on the ins and outs of what is going on with the twins and where we go in with this. Okay, so the first message, these are not going to be necessarily feminine and masculine, not all of it. So these messages that I'm pulling right now are for both collectives. Ear chakras. Notice messages that appear as sounds, music, and words from both external sources and within your mind. These messages are real answers to your prayers. So even if you don't consider yourself an audio person, there is definitely something that you're being drawn to right now in terms of the sounds, what kind of associations you can draw with them. I don't know, for people who are not used to this kind of receiving this kind of messages, it could be a little strange, and it's like, well, what's in the sound, right? Like, what are we talking about? And of course, if we're talking about songs, that's a little more understandable, right? It's a little more straightforward. And yes, that's one of the examples. Pay attention if you're drawn to a specific song that you heard, maybe it even stuck in your head like an earworm. Pay attention to it, look up the lyrics and see, get into it, see what it was supposed to be, what the message was supposed to be for you. But it can be just like random sounds. Like right now, like let's say I'm doing my check-in right now. One of the sounds that I'm hearing is the AC in the apartment working. Another sound I'm hearing is my neighbor stomping on the floor upstairs, right? It's like, what kind of associations is it creating in me and why? Of course, we can go into completely other level and talk about energetic downloads, right? And messages that you hear, they're not always words, by the way, and that's totally fine. That's partly how these readings are happening for me as a reader, right? I'm getting that information, and then I'm interpreting it for you by, translating it essentially in a language that we can all understand. The second message is Archangel Michael. Oh, I love this. Archangel Michael is looking after twin flames. It's like our main guardian in terms of archangels. You're working very closely with this powerful archangel who is protecting and guarding you through this situation. So if you feel like, apologize for the shaking, I'm just not used to the table being so shaky, so should be careful with it. So we've got the Archangel Michael here, right? Archangel Michael is there to support you. Their team is already working on the case and guiding you through the situation. But if you feel like you can use more guidance, this is the time to call on them and ask for that message, for that support, for what do you feel you need the answer to right now. And the third message we'll get from here is integrity. Align your actions so they match your values and your knowingness of what's right to you. And again, especially people who are on the spiritual path, who have done a lot of inner work and have been leading a conscious life for a while, it seems like they are a little bit more overconfident with like, oh yeah, I got this. Like, I know exactly what this is about. Like, of course I know what my values are and what is good for me. It's like, your words and actions matching that? Is that something that is resembled in the choices that you're making on everyday basis? And I myself sometimes succumb to temptation to say something that, like, this is my value, or this is how I'm going to do this, or this is what I want to do in terms of my mission and purpose is the next step. And then sometimes I still go and do something that is actually not in alignment with it, right? And that they could be little things, but they add up. And more than anything, they create energetically, they create resistance, they create distortion of the wave, right? Because in this case, let's say the universe, right, or your higher power, they don't get a clear message. What is it that you want? Because remember that with everything that you do, that you say, that you think, you're also sending out messages. You essentially manifesting your reality, right? So it better be matching. What is it that you're dreaming for yourself, the goals that you're setting for yourself? Okay, so for the 9 card, we'll actually, so what I'm gonna improvise a little bit, because I had a spread in mind. Sorry guys, touch the table again. But now I'm being called to do something a little different. So the first 3 cards will be where the feminines are with the union, readiness for union. The second 3 cards, the second row is gonna be, are the masculines ready for union, where they are with it. And then the third one is, what are the harbingers, what are the tokens of union coming together in this season that we are calling in with this 1111 portal. So first we start with the feminines and where they are at. The Emperor, it's actually not a bad start. The Moon and the Fool. 3 major arcanas you're noticing, right? I'll speak about this in a moment. For masculines, we have 8 of Pentacles working, of course, the quintessential masculine 3 of Wands, the Devil. And finally, where's this union going, and what are the signs that reconciliation and union are coming in? 5 of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, and the 8 of Swords. Wow. Okay, bottom of the deck, the Lovers, but in reverse. So to me that says that union is in the picture, it's on the horizon, but there's still some little details that need to be ironed out, right? There's still something that's standing in between you and this love. So what is it? And just as I'm being called to remind you guys that a big part of our readiness for union, when we mean specifically being with our divine counterpart, is first of all having harmonious, close relationships in our life, and that means all the close relationships, not just being in a good spot with your twin. That might actually be one exception, I would say, especially if it's a separation stage, right? But everything else needs to be in good shape, at least in a stable, more or less, grounded form. And the other one is, of course, the consideration is there, speaking of what the integrity, right? Is there anything in your 3D environment, in your karmic surrounding, that is going against what you have put out for yourself as a light worker, as a twin flame, in whatever other role that you're calling yourself and, wanting to establish yourself? Is there anything that doesn't match that? Is there still a 3D job where you're being treated unfairly, or you give it all and you don't have any energy left for, let's say, your light work and mission? Is there some kind of addiction, even if it's something small, even if it's something that actually can benefit you? And I mean, all of them actually benefit us to some extent, right? So you keep talking yourself out of changing that around, right? Like, is that it? Is there a bill that needs to be paid, that's been sitting there overdue for a few months? Is there a book that needs to be returned to the library? Is there a drawer in your dresser that needs to be organized, right? Like, what is missing that harmony and balance, right? Where are those loose ends? Think about it, attend to it. With all that said, feminines, you've got 3 major arcanas, and they're beautiful, honestly. I feel like this journey has really humbled you to understand that this journey is not just for like calling out, this is my person, and we'll be together, feeling entitled, that will definitely be together. It's more about how does it inspire you to do something amazing in your own life, something that you consider amazing, something that you consider a miracle, or at least something brave that you don't think you would have done otherwise. And I don't mean for the relationship, I mean generally in life, ideally making this world a better place, but of course we start with ourselves, right? Changing it around where you don't necessarily feel like you're pulling the strings, or the fact that you're a spiritual leader doesn't necessarily mean that you get to decide when and what and how, right? I mean, you should have some kind of vision, right? But remember to detach yourself from outcomes, right? So all these karmic events, all these destined trials and tribulations have shaped you, and now you're supposed to, like, I love this is a crystal actually that she's holding in her hand. You're supposed to focus on the light work, supposed to focus on the beauty, the miracle, you know, the imagination. Yeah, I guess so. That's what came out. But beautiful place. I really like this actually. Connection to who you are, even the unattractive parts of yourself. And creating magic and being there for yourself and for other people, no matter whether it's a good day or a bad day. That's what I'm getting. For masculines, where are you where it comes to union? We have 8 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands, and the Devil. Masculines are still on the crossroads, and are still deciding whether they want to take an easy way out, or keep choosing an easy way out, right? Because I mean, let's face it, they are talented, they have such huge energy field, that kind of charisma that comes with it, and they get away with a lot of stuff, and they have created a living for themselves one way or the other, right? Maybe it's not glorious, it's not like something to write home about, but it's good enough, you know, it gets them by. And it's a question of like, do I want anything better than that? And am I ready to give up all my shortcuts and the ways that I maybe have manipulated people, or didn't hold my promise, or anything of that kind? Like, do I really want to change that? I'm not sure. This world is a messed up place, so I'm not sure that's really gonna do me or anyone else any good, right? So they are actually looking into what's next, into planning the future. But more than anything, it's like right now I've got something solid in front of me and I'm sticking with it. So there is like, the soul has that desire to see what's out there, to explore the world and the possibilities, with or without DF, and that's the important part. But there's still this part of ego that says, but you know, I don't have a lot, but I've actually worked for this, or you know, it's been working for me pretty well, so you know, that's what I know, that's what I'm sticking with. For the union, so what's between us and union? We see, what is the harbinger and the token of union coming up? We have 5 of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and the 8 of Swords. It's that kind of dark night of the soul, kind of additional cycle of it before things come together, where, you know, like we still have this ups and downs, where one way we feel like everything's lost and we'll always be alone. And I mean, this goes, by the way, for both twins, because even if you don't know it, Divine Feminine's watching, because most of you are DMs also feel that way. They just put up, you know, a poker face, and or they compensate it with something more masculine and, you know, fortifying, to not really admit it. But they still feel that way too from time to time, that everything's lost, that this is not gonna work out, or that I'm gonna make it in life, da 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 da. Then comes the point where it's like, but I'm doing great actually. You know, I'm unique, I'm talented, I'm beautiful the way I am, and I can build the life that I want. And then another shade of like, ooh, but I don't know whether this is gonna be good enough for my person, I don't know whether I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be able to achieve what I want in time for us to be together. I don't know, maybe they will have chosen somebody else by then, and this all is not worth it, right? So there are all this kind of jumping into pros and cons, and one day focusing on pros, another day focusing on cons. And so this is a confirmation for us basically that this is not like, this is normal to a certain degree. I want to say normal, but is it? Having doubts up till the end of this sort is still fine. Of course, the question of the day, the judgment moment, is which direction are you going to choose eventually, right? The easy way or the hard way. And I'm not saying that if you're making one specific choice towards an easy way that it's done. No, it just means that you're entering another cycle where you're going to be learning this lesson again, where something maybe didn't get through, or something maybe didn't get you to be strong enough to go into the unknown, right? That's essentially what it is. We are being asked to step into the unknown at every new cycle that we're going. When we are upgrading to the next cycle, that's a new level of unknown that is scary, that feels dangerous on some level, right? And we are supposed to do that. That's the full card, which was actually the first card of this. Was it? No, actually it wasn't. It was the third one. But the full card sums it up. And if you're only going to take one thing from this reading, I would say take this one, where you know that you're supposed to be stepping into the unknown. It's almost like a cheat sheet, if you wish. That if something is easy and very obvious, something you've been doing for a long time, that's not the option to choose, right? And I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, but again, that's where you're in that stagnation and you're staying at the same level. And if you're thinking that may not be a good enough reason in terms of spirituality or even twin flame journey, in the practical sense, we're looking at pentacles here. If anything, you see, we have 2 out of 3 cards of pentacles in the union space. When we're looking at the practical aspects of life, it applies just the same. So it might as well mean that if you're making a most straightforward decision in your business, that your business is not going to grow, or it might actually go downwards because it wasn't an aligned decision, because you went with something that seemed safe, but at the end it wasn't, right? So I'll leave it to you. In terms of the oracle messages, just a reminder, you've got a message about paying attention to your ear chakras and what you're hearing, the sounds, the songs, the words. Archangel Michael is looking out for you, and if you need additional support answers, you can call on them. And then of course integrity, so that your the way you speak about your life and your actions actually match those dreams that you have on your mind, that you are speaking into the universe when doing your affirmations or meditation or anything of that sort. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I love you all. I'll be back very, very soon. I only have Libra left for November readings, and I'm gonna publish it very shortly. So until next time.